Fáilte Ribh go léir, Tá an áilsar an bheith an seannacht. I'm very happy to be here tonight and see all. A lot of old friends that I have very happy memories of. So welcome everybody. Now the school actually started on this very site in 1971 and was known as Christian Brothers Secondary School, Upper Springfield Road, and was actually in the district of Lisburn at that time. We were just outside the Belfast city boundary. Brother O'Connell was the first principal, and when we came up here, we had to be dropped on the Upper Springfield Road and climb over the barricades to get in. So it was tough times. Now the first staff we had was very, very small. There was Joe Devlin, the vice principal, Brother O'Connell, myself, Brian Long, Liam Dempsey was departed, Liam Norby, Willie McParland, Dennis Brannigan and Billy Gatt. Quite a small number. It was a prefab building and there was no gym or anything like that, so fortunately the field was there. It was a bit rough and open to the public, no gates and things like that. So we began to use it for football and hurling. And fortunately up the road there was a man called the Doggy Man with a tractor, and he also had a shotgun. So very few people went near him. He never fired the gun, but what he used to do was he would point it, and his friend Ernie Shannon used to fire a starting pistol. So it looked as if he was armed. We played in the first year school leagues. The kids loved the games, football and hurling, and they were looking for more and more games, so we decided to approach the district leagues to see could we get a team in from Turf Lodge. There were objections because the managers of Ballymurphy, Lenadoon, Springfield, Andersonstown, and the other districts said, no, you're a school. Schools bring pupils in from all sorts of different districts, but we kept trying anyway, and eventually they let us in. And just then, St. Gall's objected, and they said, no, Turf Lodge is our territory. But then they were asked, when did you last enter a team? And they hadn't entered a team for some years, so they says, okay, the new team can go ahead. So at that stage there was no talk about establishing a club. We just wanted to get the kids playing Gaelic games, football and hurling, and enjoying themselves. So the field was there, but there were no posts, and our two friends up the Doggy Man and his friend, they salvaged the goal posts from McCrory Park. The British Army had moved in there, so the posts were lying to one side, dumped, and they got them up here, and I think they're still out there. So thanks to O'Donnell's, they don't know, maybe they don't know they're there, but we have them anyway. So we used that field for about 2 years, and then the primary school needed extra space, and they planked some prefabs at the bottom of the field and dismantled the lower posts. So for some time we couldn't get using that field for games. Fortunately, after a few years, they no longer needed these prefabs, so they became the social club for Gort and Móna. So one thing led to another, and we ended up. Fortunately, we had insurance on it because there was a fire there one time, and Robbie looked after that and got the place repaired and set up again, you know. But a lot of you probably remember the snooker table up in the basement of the school. We used to lift that out in summertime and take it up for the summer school upstairs, and great use was made of it. Well, that was the first snooker table in the club. So it was brought down here and put to good use. So that's the teaching staff for the moment. And that's the Doggy Man, okay. Now the times that were in it, it was 1971, 72, an interment with a trial came in, and just go back a bit. there were hijackings and barricades, and people were very worried and anxious, and things were not good. But down at the bottom of Turf Lodge, somebody decided to do some graffiti work on the end wall of a house, and he started off, "You are now," and he never finished it. So it lay there for years, and entering Free Turf Lodge was never added to the slogan. But up this end, St. Aidan's end, there were 3 blocks of flats, and the first one read, "Turf is Catholic." The second one was, "No tea for Dad's Army." And the third one was, "Jockstein OK." So they got things right. That's "you are" now. He had it misspelled "O-U-R" instead of A-R-E, but it's all part of history now. We got a minibus. Fortunately, we got this bed for a minibus, and there's a story behind it. It belonged to a fishing club, and it was stopped on the border one day with 14 fishermen in it and 1 fishing rod. So the fishing club disbanded immediately, and the minibus was decommissioned. So Frank Cahill of Britain's Parade brought the minibus along and offered it to the school at a price that couldn't be turned down, and we got a good number of years' work out of it. It got us to Shaw's Road, to Cherryvale, to Casement Park, to Cork, to Donegal, to Connemara, so it was priceless. It needed maintenance, and fortunately there was a very good mechanic in the estate called Jimmy Turner, and Jimmy spent many evenings after his supper fixing things, and even weekends he would come up and help out. I remember before going to Cork, he worked almost 24 hours on the bus, and everything worked out perfectly. So I have great memories of Jimmy, a very, very generous man. After the doggy man and his friend Ernie, Jimmy was the next helper who came along and helped us keep the games going. This is the only photograph I have from the first year and second year in the prefabs. So if somebody would go up with a stick, okay?
There you go. There's the first one there, he's at.
There we have Paul Pollock, okay, Arthur Donnelly, Anthony Devlin, Brian McCann, Hugh Marley, what's his first name? Sean McGurk. Now the next man, is he a Thompson?
Yeah, not the older one. Anthony Thompson it is.
Yeah, okay.
He's the only blonde one.
Right, and then there's Danny Kern, Gerard Boyd. I don't know who that is. Then this is Kevin Mulholland, Móna. Tom Brady, George Kennedy, Anthony Lynch, Brendan Mulvenna, Al Fox. I think he was Bobby Quinn, was it? Jared Smith. Was that Jared Smith? Okay, yeah. Joe O'Reilly, Bobby Weatherall, Dominic Bell, Jared Smith, Hugh Russell, and this man we can't place. No. And Anthony McQuaid, I think. Okay. So that's the only photograph memories we have of the first 2 years in the prefabs here. Okay. Andy. Okay, Jimmy Devine was caretaker in the new school, and Jimmy had bad health, so he took early retirement, and Andy stepped in and took a quiet interest in what was going on in the sports, and turned out to be a great PRO man. Okay, got lots of things into the newspapers and even into the Belfast Telegraph. Here we have a presentation up in the old school library, and you can see Charlie Sweeney there. Okay. And the man in the middle there presenting was Paddy Flannery. Paddy had an ice cream factory down at the bottom of the White Rock Road where the bookie shop is now. And he was a great O'Donnell's man. And he was presenting the O'Donnell Cup there. I think, is that deep French? It's not a very clear photograph. But then over to the right, you can see Brother O'Connell there watching the proceedings. Now, the O'Donnell Cup was an under-12 football competition, and Andy had I have a clipping here from the Irish News, very, very old, so I've blown it up. The Irish News, in its account of the final, stated that the boys from Turf Lodge gave a brilliant display of progressive and consistent football to easily defeat Riverdale Rovers. The winners used their wings to great advantage, and there was great cohesion in their work. Their catching was excellent, and while Riverdale fought very hard, they could not match the prowess of this fine side. Turf Lodge had fine players in Adrian Crozier, Raymond McGarry, Damien Fay, Gerard Holden, and their keeper, Jamie Flanagan. Their scorers were Damien Friars 2-3, Frankie Keenan 1-2, Martin Murray and Patrick McCaffrey 2 points each. Riverdale marksmen were M. Dundee, J. Doyle 1 goal each, P. Downey and P. O'Neill 1 point each. Okay. So about this time, the games were going very well at weekends, and fortunately Seamus Nolan came along to give a hand with the under-14s and under-16s. And he was, after Jimmy Turner and the Doggy Man, he was the first man from the neighbourhood to get really involved, and his help was very much appreciated by all concerned. Now, just move on a bit here. Seamus was helping with the under-14s, under-16s. Then in the school, Charlie Sweeney was the PE master, and he was helping with the football, and Brother Egan helped along as well. And then Johnny Jamison of St. John's, he helped with the hurling. And they had a good input into the youth work in the school, and also they took an interest in, later on, in setting up the club. Then we came to the Féile Champions when, about this time, the name changed from Turf Lodge to Clan na Móna, because we wanted to bring in Dermot Hill and New Barnsley in with Turf Lodge and give them a common name. And that stayed with us for some time. Now, I don't have any picture of the Féile team, and I would like some help. Who played in nets in that hurling team? They beat Lochgill in the final in Casement Park. Joe Quigley, okay. And what was the full back line?
Me and George used to go out the place and I can't
Okay, I think. No, we don't have a picture, unfortunately. I think Martin Hagan was in the back line, and A.D. Crozier and George Ferguson. And then the half-back line, Martin O'Neill, Martin Murray, good. Emmanuel McAllister, yes. At midfield we had Frankie Keenan and Raymond McGarry, very good, yes.
Well, Frankie Keenan's just joined us from San Francisco.
All right, do you want to put him on?
No.
Okay.
No, he's good. He's listening to you.
Okay,
say,
yeah.
hello, say a quick hello.
Hello, Frankie. Good to see you. All right. Okay. The half forward line then we had Gerard Holden. Squibb, yes, Squibb.
Frankie Gallagher. Frankie Keenan.
No, Frankie was midfield.
How about the screen guy down in Móna?
Oh, yes, yes. Was he Martin Bramble? Frankie Bramble, right, okay. Marty was in the backs. Then we had Paddy McCaffrey and Martin Thompson, Brian McMahon, Shamie Crudden, yes.
Rest in peace.
And was Midge there? Sub, okay, and
Number 18.
okay, we'll talk about it afterwards and get build up the full panel. Okay, so that was the Féile. Now, the Féile was a very important beginning to the club because at the end of the season they began to say, we want to stay together. We want to. We don't want to split up, going to different clubs. Can we not stay together? So there was a bit of pressure on there to do something about that. And immediately coming behind them was this group of players who were also good hurlers and good footballers. And we start there with Roy Keenan, Tommy Cassidy, Raymond McGarry, Anthony Harriott, Joe Quigley, Brian Moran, Martin Hamill, Seamus Shields. Was it Joe O'Reilly? Joe O'Reilly, okay. I think Bobby Quinn, yes. Martin McGuigan. Jared Gallagher, yes. Brian Heaney. Frankie Bramble, Jared Friars. Steve Friars, okay.
Stephen McCann.
Is that Stephen McCann, right? And then Martin Elliman, is it? Yeah. Okay. The last one there, I think it's Martin Elliman.
No, he's a lot further on.
Oh, is he? Oh, okay. And the second last one again? Stephen McCann, okay. Okay. Okay, we finished with this one. And this is the celebrations up in the old school canteen. All smiles and happiness, okay? Lots and lots of young faces there because there was a combination of teams, under 14, under 12 and so on. Is Tommy Kelly in there? Up at the back?
I can see him. I can see him. Right in the very back.
Yes. He wasn't under 12 or under 14. Okay. We have a few action photographs coming up just from one match in the Glen Road, and I think that's Owen Murray in the background and Gregory McCaffrey striking the ball. Okay. The Glen Road all-weather pitch. I think that's one of the cars. Stevie Carr, is it? Or Brendan Carr, yeah, Brendan. And there it is again, yeah. That's the second minibus after the Bedford died, and that's Paddy O'Neill's car, his Volkswagen. Okay, very historic. And there's Paddy O'Neill himself, okay. I think the player in the middle is probably Seamus Shields. Not too sure. Owen Murray to the left. There they are again. Paddy. Okay. Is that Seamus Nolan's car? No. Okay. That's probably Roy Keenan in the tracksuit. Yeah. Okay. No, the marine and amber colours. I think the bus was originally blue, and Desi and Mickey and Liam Mackle and a few of the boys born a little older than the Féile team began to give a hand in the school garage. We had an old Volkswagen car they were trying to do up, and they also painted the bus in Starsky and Hutch style, Starsky and Hutch style, okay? And every time it went up and down the White Rock Road, the teachers in St. Thomas's used to say, will you stop driving that bus up and down, because every time it goes by, all the kids stand up in the classrooms and shout, Gort na Móna! And here's a presentation night, okay? Joe Devlin, the Vice Principal. Big smile from Eddie. He was a very shy young man. And then we have that's Eamon McMahon from the County Board presenting to Frankie Keenan. And you have Emmanuel McAllister and Martin Thompson there, and I don't know who's behind Frankie. Okay. And here's Seamus Nolan presenting Wee Gerard with his medal, okay. Followed by Georgie Ferguson and Scrib. Okay. Liam Conlon, okay. Joe Devlin again presenting the medals there, okay. There's Joe and Martin Murray and is it Owen Murray? Okay. Anoraks were very much in fashion. Who is that? Tucker McCall. Oh, right. Yes. Okay. And here's Seamus again with Gigi McGuinness, Gerard Gallagher, Eddie Crozier, and Martin O'Neill.
Yes.
Okay. The back. Emmanuel McAllister, yeah. Okay. Yes. Okay. Tommy Wilson, is it? Yeah, okay. Marty Murray. Yeah. So as I said earlier on, end of season conversation was let's stay together, and you had the Féile team, all of those were born in 1962, and then you had the older boys born in 1961, Shawnee McKenna, Mickey Murray, Liam Mackle, Desi Nolan, and they were very, and much more, okay, I haven't got all the names here, but they were all a great bunch of guys, and they said, can we not play under 16, can we not get an under 16 team going? And they were quite young for that, and it meant leaving the districts and going towards club. So a lot of thought was being put into it. Then Gabe McGlinchey and John Cousins and Damien French was saying, my big brother Joe wants to play, so more pressure. Can we get a club going? And the name at this stage, we decided to change to the same name as the school, okay, Gort na Móna. So it went from Turf Lodge to Clan na Móna to Gort na Móna, and we're still with that today, okay? A good name, nice name, Irish name. So the group that was discussing the new club were Seamus Nolan, Hugo McParland had come in to help as well. You know, Hugo used to do a lot of work with the under 16s and under 14, under 12. Father Paddy McWilliams was very anxious to get a club going in the parish. He brought in Seamus White. Seamus was a very knowledgeable GA man, very familiar with the rule books and all that. He was a great addition, and he was to become the first chairman. Andy McKenna was there, meetings, helping out, writing reports and things like that. And Paddy O'Neill was on the school staff And Paddy was St. Teresa's man, but he wanted to help out as much as possible and get the club going. So it was decided to draft a letter, and we put a lot of work into it, making our case. And we called in Bridie O'Hare to help out. And Bridie went down after work hours to the Royal Victoria and typed up the letter and made it very presentable. So we presented that to the county board, and we were accepted in as a club. Then the school year 1976-77 brought in Joe Austin and Robbie McMahon to the staff, okay? And these were a great addition to the effort to keep the games going. This is moving in now to the under 16, under 18 section, and you can see a lot of familiar faces there, okay? Okay, yeah, thanks. This photograph came out of the Irish News, as you can see, okay? I just happened to leave it folded up in a book until I discovered it quite recently. And you can see Andy there and Willie Mackle, okay? And a very proud Jimmy Flanagan accepting the trophy. Beside Andy, then you have Martin Hamill and Greg McCaffrey, okay? Then starting on the right, is it Midge Holden, George Ferguson, Mickey French, Martin Flanagan, one of the Mackles, Marty Mackle, okay. Next, Joe Kelly, Stevie Murray, yes. The back then, Joe French, okay. Tommy Rocks, okay. Paddy McCaffrey, Tommy Kelly, he shows up in a lot of photographs. The one and only Shawnee McKenna, and then another Mackle. Which of them is that? Eddie Mackle, yes, okay. Nice photograph. Happy enough? Okay. Joe Austin was one of the first secretaries, and he came up one night from a meeting down in Casement Park for fixtures, and Seamus White says to him, "Joe, where's the match on Sunday?" And Joe said, "Benidorm." It turned out it was Bodor. So we didn't have to purchase flight tickets. But we took flight very quick out of Bodor after the match. Robbie took, while Joe was doing a lot of the paperwork, Robbie took to managing the under 14s and under 12s, and took an interest in the under 16s as well, so great help there. Now, we had to find a South Antrim team to play in the leagues, so the school staff, a lot of the school staff decided to help out. A lot of young men on the school staff at that stage. But from the parish we had Father McWilliams, and then Damien Price joined us. He was teaching in St. Gabriel's. Then Rusty McCarthy, Jerry Parks, Dan Donnelly from the youth club, Paddy Fay, brother of Dee Fay, Gabriel McGlinchey, John Kane. Then from the school we had Charlie Sweeney, Paddy O'Neill, Brian Long. Brian played in water boots and nets. Jerry MacDonald, okay. Paul Fagan, Liam Malloy, Joe Austin. I think it was Paul McQuarrie. He wasn't teaching in the school. He was a brother of the teacher in the school. He liked to get a game. Collie Hughes probably stepped in there and got things up and running and kept them running. And along with the chairman and committee, he put enormous energy into the new club, from teams to grounds to buildings. Okay. And I have a clip before I go on to this one. I mentioned the minibus going to Connemara, and on that particular trip, the boys were sleeping in the CBS in Ballinrobe. And things were going fine until one day the principal came to me and he says, I have bad news. Your boys are drinking. I says, what? They're only 14 years of age. He says, well, the bottles and the cans are there. So, fortunately, I didn't dive immediately. I said, I'll have to think about this. We'll have to take them home and do what's necessary. But a few hours later he came to me and says, sorry, it's my own fellas. They were celebrating their exam results last night. So that was a relief. But that was a good trip. One of the trips we made, because the big mistake I made was the first night, the Monday night, I took them into Salt Hill. And they blew all their money in the amusements and arcades and whatnot, and we had to live for the next 4 days. So, fortunately, they had brought a lot of cans of food and stuff with them, so we were able to get on that. But the last day, we went up and climbed Croagh Patrick. That wasn't a penance, except for me. But I let them out of the bus anyway, and when I look around, they were gone up the side of the mountain. And they left me to carry the water and the apples. And I was just 2 months after getting my appendix out. So I made it anyway. I got up and back down safely. But it was one of those good trips. We also went to Donegal and a few other places. But I know some of the others are going to talk about Cork and these things after I finish, so that's something to look forward to. Now, Eamon O'Hara had an article in the Irish News in 2004, and I'll finish up with that. I'll just read from it. A decade after being founded, Ghort na Móna won the Antrim Junior hurling title, defeating Tiernan Og. 2 intermediate hurling titles and intermediate leagues followed. In football, Division 2 and Junior Football Championship honours were attained. At handball, Ghort na Móna has achieved regular All-Ireland wins. And he went on to state, projects, this was 2004, in recent times have developed the club beyond recognition. With Father Wallace and Robbie McMahon, others helping to secure major funding for a new pitch and changing rooms. The pitch is named Enright Park after esteemed member Terry Oak Enright, RIP. In both Gaelic football and hurling, their underage teams have featured in the final stages of most competitions in 2004. So that was really a magnificent achievement for that stage of development of the club. Added to the above, one must mention also the indoor handball courts and social facilities. All of the developments and sporting achievements were due to the dedication and hard work of the chairman and their committees, up to and including 2004, and to Robin McMahon, who has worked tirelessly in the background for Ghort na Móna from the 1970s to the present day. And these are my own words at the end. The school is gone, but Ghort na Móna plays on in football, hurling and handball. And just tonight I was able to see the Camogues in action, and I believe the ladies are also playing football, so that's absolutely marvellous. Okay. I don't know if many of you heard of St. Martin of Tours? Nobody?
Catholics here?
Turf is Catholic. Jockstein okay. He was an army man, and he was way back, and he was riding his horse in the cold winter, and he was brandishing his sword and wearing a big heavy cloak, and he saw a poor man shivering in the cold, so he got off his horse and cut his cloak in half and gave one half to the poor man. Sometime around 2004 or thereabouts, I happened to run into Joe French. He wasn't wearing a cloak, nor was he. Oops. Nor was he riding a horse, but he took his coat off and gave it to me. He was absolutely busting with pride about this club, Gort na Móna. And I'm very proud of the fact that I'm here tonight talking to all you good people. Okay, the club has been a great success. It started for the youth of the area, and I would certainly like to see that continue. Don't neglect the youth, look after them. They're your future. Keep them out of trouble. Okay? Also, being human, you'll have difficulties in the club, but appreciate what everybody is doing. Everybody's trying to do something for the club. Small ways, hidden ways. Some are more talkative than others, but you're all a club. Work together. Be solid, okay? And everything will be all right. So, well done, everybody, and thanks for listening.
So I'm not giving the... You're not giving the coat back? No? Not giving the coat back? Listen, Journey's going to say a few words, and our Damien's going to say a few words.